All right, today we're diving into a matchmaking website with a premise that's, well, it's truly unique and for a lot of people, pretty controversial. We're talking about secondwife.com. And, it's this fascinating case study where ancient tradition, modern technology, and some seriously bold business strategy all just collide. Yep, you heard that right. The entire business model is literally right there in the name. It's an online service for men who are looking to practice polygamy. So the question that immediately pops into your head is, how on earth does a business built on such a contentious idea even get off the ground? Well, to really get the why behind secondwife.com, we've got to start with the very specific cultural and technological landscape it came from. See, this isn't just some random startup. It's a product of a society that's really in the middle of a big transition. So, in Pakistan, arranged marriage has been the bedrock of society for a long, long time. It's seen as the most stable way to build a family. But as the world modernizes, so do these customs. The matchmaker isn't just the village elder anymore. More and more, it's an algorithm right there on your smartphone. And this right here, this is the spark. By 2021, internet access had just exploded, covering more than half the population. We're talking about a market of over 118 million people. All of a sudden, you have this huge digitally connected audience looking for online services that get their unique cultural needs, and that includes how they find a partner. But this story isn't just about a market opportunity. No. To really understand this company, you have to understand the founder, Azad Chayawala, and his personal quest that actually goes back decades. Look, this was not some spur-of-the-moment idea. The whole concept took root when Chayawala was just 12 years old. He was even upfront with his first wife about it when they got married. But a decade later, when he was trying to find a second wife, he just couldn't. He saw a gap in the market because he was the market. So what did he do? He built the very platform that he couldn't find anywhere else. Okay, so we've got the founder and we've got the market. But what about the business itself? How does a platform designed for polygamy actually work? And maybe more importantly, how does it make any money? The core idea is actually pretty simple. It's a matchmaking service connecting people who are specifically looking for a polygamous relationship. The whole platform operates within the context of Islamic tradition, which under certain conditions does permit a man to have up to 4 wives. And here's how they turn this niche into a business. It runs on a classic subscription model. Sure, you can join for free, but if you do, it's kind of like being in a locked room. If you want to actually view profiles and send messages, the whole point of the site, you have to get a paid membership. That right there is the engine of the entire business. So what are you actually paying for? Well, it's more than just access. You're buying your way into a curated community. The platform's whole value proposition is built on providing trust and privacy for what is a very sensitive lifestyle choice. So they offer features like blurring photos, trying to verify profiles, and having specialized customer support. Of course, secondwife.com isn't operating in a bubble. It has to compete in Pakistan's online matrimonial market, which is already super crowded. And its approach? It's radically different from everyone else. The strategy gets really clear when you put it side by side with a mainstream competitor like Shadi.org PK. While the mainstream sites are all about mass volume with a free monogamous model, secondwife.com goes deep. It is a classic niche play. You target a much smaller but highly motivated group and bet that they'll be willing to pay for a service that's tailor-made for them. And the wider competitive landscape is just incredibly diverse. You've got giants like Shadi.pk that are focused on having the most users, others that compete on security, and then free services that even throw in wedding planning. In this really crowded field, secondwife.com isn't even trying to compete on those terms. It's carved out its own, very specific, and very controversial corner of the market. So, as you can probably imagine, building a business on a foundation like this comes with some huge challenges. And that brings us to the intense controversy and the practical, day-to-day hurdles the company is up against. Now, the founder's defense is basically to frame his service as a moral solution. His argument is that things like secret affairs and one-night stands are what's truly corrupt, and that open, honest polygamy is actually a more honorable alternative that strengthens families instead of destroying them. But the criticism? It is fierce. A UK member of parliament, Khalid Mahmood, calls the whole thing utterly stupid, and he points to a really critical legal and financial danger. See, in countries like the UK, where bigamy is a crime, a second wife has zero legal standing. That means she has no claim to her partner's finances or any assets if the relationship goes south. And that public controversy creates this whole cascade of internal business problems. Mainstream advertisers, they won't touch them. Without a link to some official database, verifying that users are who they say they are is a constant battle against fakes and scams. And maybe most critical for a matchmaking site, they have a fundamental imbalance. Way more men are signing up than women. So, with all of these things working against them, what's the next move? For the founder, the answer isn't to back down, but actually to expand in a pretty surprising new direction. Seeing all the user engagement on secondwife.com, Chaiwala is now planning a parallel company, wife.com. The whole idea is to launch a completely separate service for monogamous marriage, using his platform experience to go after that much larger and way less controversial mainstream market. And that leaves us with this huge strategic question. Can a brand that was born from such a controversial idea ever really pivot to the mainstream? Or will a reputation of its founder and his first company forever define whatever he does next? It's a classic business challenge, just amplified by one of the most unconventional products you could possibly imagine.